What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Voice of Life. And I'm back with a topic I wanted to speak on while I have the time. As you see, I'm sitting here at work, and this is not like a storage room or nothing, but it's actually my temporary classroom, using my room for testing purposes. But while I have some time, I wanted to speak on a topic that I had on my mind, I have on my list of things to discuss. It's the difference, or I guess the substitution of pride with patience, right? Raising your patience and lowering your pride, right? Pride is something that is killing a lot of us. It's destroying a lot of us. It's destroying our families, our relationships, our careers, our self-worth, all these things, right? It's a deadly sin for a reason, right? An analogy I wanted to use when it comes to pride, something that all of us can relate to, especially as adults can all relate to, is driving on the highway, right? Driving on the highway, there's something that is going to test your patience and increase your pride for a lot of us. It's trying to make it to work on time in the morning, right? See, because there are plenty of us that do. We're speeding. It's early in the morning. We're trying to get to work. We're just concerned about getting to work. Somebody cuts us off. Somebody tries to cuts us off. We're not having it. Somebody tries to get in front of us. Nope. Right? Somebody turn that signal on. A lot of us speed up just to cut them off. Just to not let them go. We're so concerned about ourselves. Right? And that's what I wanted to speak on. I think that's such a great analogy, because it's funny, not only do I notice that, and I've mentally been working on that for a year now. And I'm at a point now where, like, I'm not so bad at it. I still have my moments because, again, every morning being surrounded by energy, you're gonna get tempted for your pride to get a little spike up. But it's funny, I see that here, or I see that when I'm driving, and I also see that here at elementary school while I'm working, right? And as kids, we were always the same way. You know, you tell your kids to get in line. You always got those kids in the front who are fighting in the front. And you always got the kid, I was here first, blah, blah, blah. And as teachers, we always check them by saying, we're all going to the same place, this, that, and third. But I always try to ask questions to the kids to make them think. To those kids, especially if they're old enough, I always like to ask, if you let them get in front of you, what's going to happen to you? At first, they're, still want to say, well, I was here first, and like, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, but if you let them get in front of you, what's going to happen to you? And usually they don't have a solid answer. They kind of just, calm down and step back. I'm like, okay. And then I'll say, well, you guys are going to the same classroom, right? I'm like, yes, okay. And also, wasn't that helpful to let them get in front of you? Yeah. And as I'm talking to that kid, the kid who did get in front, I also see that they're listening and they're noticing that. And see, if I start feeding that into these kids' ears, that same kid who was listening, maybe the next time somebody tries to get in front of them, they'll be more willing to be like, hey, just step in front of me. Like, we're all going to the same class, right? So instead of just regurgitating the same thing and leaving them frustrated, I have them think about how their actions are affecting their own emotions. And the same way with driving on the highway. You're driving, you're trying to get to work. The 2 seconds you would take to just step back, just pull back a little bit and let that person get in front of you. How's that going to affect you? Now, here go the prideful people. Well, I got to make it to work on time. Like, I ain't got no time to waste. I'm like, well, if you letting 1 or 2 people get in front of you on the way to work, if that was going to make you late, you was going to be late no matter what. Like, that's not going to kill you. Like, it literally is all of 2 seconds. Like, I don't think people understand how much time you don't miss. Here's how I know. Let me give you something else to think about. Have you ever been using the GPS and you're already late? Let's say you are 2 minutes late. So, like, you got to get on the highway and you're trying to cut 2 minutes down. I mean, I could be flying, and don't tell nobody, but I could be flying down the highway for like a couple miles, flying, going. And I'll only see 1 minute go down on my GPS. I'm like, bro, I'm speeding out here, right? But we don't understand, even going 10 miles per hour, in the matter of going 95 compared to 85, that's barely a second of difference. Usually, like, the distance that you're covering is not as great of a distance as you think that you're cutting through, right? So it might feel like you only cut off 1 minute and you've been like, you're going 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, 15, 20. You flying, you're not 20. Right? I'm not saying I'm doing that, but you know what I'm saying? You're flying. You're really not cutting as much time as you think you are. You would think you're cutting 5-6 minutes off. You're really not, right? It's the same way when you're driving, you just let a couple people in front of you. You're not losing as much time as you think you are. That's your pride talking. That's your pride because you're late. That's your pride because you don't want to let nobody in front of you because you think this is a zero-sum game. You think life is a zero-sum game, and if other people succeed, you have to fail. Or maybe you grew up in a situation where you weren't getting the things that you wanted. Maybe there's some childhood trauma. A lot of this stuff is childhood trauma, where we weren't getting what we wanted, right? We weren't getting the approval that we needed. We felt like other people were getting ahead of us, whether it be siblings, friends, right? Our parents were always putting us down. So now whenever we get a chance to cut somebody off, whenever we get the chance to block somebody else's path, whenever you get the chance to stop somebody else's success, we're gonna do it. Because life is a zero-sum game. If they succeed, I'm gonna fail, right? That's pride talking, right? Let's talk about another thing though. Same analogy. Let's say you drive and somebody cuts you off. Ooh-wee. I know I've been there plenty. Again, I come from Vegas, that's my home. Now I'm here in Houston. I went from bad to worse. No offense to Houston, but I thought Vegas was bad. I came to Houston. No, people in Houston, they love smelling your tailpipe. They love being nose deep into your tailpipe. I promise you, they love it. At least in Vegas, you weren't really getting that. Like they don't try to cut you off, but they at least give you some distance. Houston, they don't care about none of that. Personal space, what is that? So like, you'll be driving, and you're trying to go, and if you have this much space between you and the next car, and that person feels like they can get in there, they're gonna do it. They're gonna swipe right up in there, right? And it's gonna irritate your soul. And what it does is, not only do you get irritated, now you try to feel like you gotta fight this person. Now you gotta feel like you gotta get around them and try to cut them back off. So I've had that happen, right? I've gone to auto wars, right? Auto wars on the highway, right? And then Star Wars is auto wars. That can be a movie within itself, right? But you feel like now you gotta fight this person, you gotta try to get ahead of them and cut them off and stuff like that. I've had people do that to me, where I wasn't even trying to cut them off. See, like if I get over, you will know I'm getting over. Like I put on my signal and I slowly get over. And even when I'm doing that, there are people who try to run up behind you and as if that's gonna make me like get over, back over. I'm like, you can be mad or you can just let me go. There's a lot of that stuff going on. But people cutting you off. See, now does that upset you? Putting that into real life. How many times do you feel people get in front of you or succeed in front of you, right? Or getting ahead of you in life, and you feel like you're just getting left behind. People are always getting in front of you, right? And does that irritate you? Does that annoy you, right? Do you feel more anger towards them instead of gratefulness, instead of joy, instead of happiness, you know, and rejoicing for them, being happy that they're getting ahead, being happy that they are succeeding? Are you filled with more anger that it's not you? Is it your pride that's talking to you? That's all pride. Being mad at somebody else getting ahead. Because here's the thing, and not that I want to put this on anybody that is getting ahead or succeeding. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. Their success is never guaranteed. So even if they're getting ahead, and getting ahead of you is what it's going to feel like, that success that they're going on, that's not even guaranteed. The very next day, something could happen. It is not that we wish that on anybody, but it's just something to think about because the same thing can happen to you. We're so concerned about somebody else getting ahead, and none of that is guaranteed. Somebody could gain all the things in the world. I'm reading through the Bible, and I'm reading through the book of Job. Job was successful. Job had all the wealth, big family. And today, the devil swiped it all away, destroyed all these things. And now his friends are coming to him saying, well, your life must be wicked. That's why you're going through all this stuff and this, that, and the third. And they're so prideful in their stance instead of trying to understand it, right? Job had everything and lost it all. And the closest people to him are shunning him now. The closest people to him are knocking him down because of their pride, right? Don't be so quick to be jealous or envious. Envy, another deadly sin. Envy and pride, I'm sure, are best friends at times, right? Don't be so quick to be envious over somebody because your pride is telling you to be mad at their success. It's not guaranteed for them. Never. Your success, nobody else's success is ever guaranteed. It's all on what God wants. It's all in God's timing. So that's why it's something I've been working on for the last few years, through my different, occupations and jobs that I've done, and just in my life day to day, is working on my patience. Patience. Patience is patience is like a Vaseline to the wound of pride, right? Not a Band-Aid, but Vaseline. It's like salt sometimes. It can feel like salt to the wound of pride, right? Because it stings to be patient sometimes. It stings. When somebody cuts you off, ooh, it just kills you sometimes just to back up and breathe, right? But how much more better is your morning gonna be? Like, let's just say somebody cuts you off. Instead of getting mad, you just slow down, keep moving. If anything, I try to be just so wrapped in feeling good and thinking about the things that I'm focused on, that if somebody cuts me off or somebody's trying to be weird on the highway, it doesn't bother me, because I'm focused on my purpose. I'm focused on the mission that I have at hand, right? And I understand that I can help people get ahead. Somebody trying to get over it and I back up and just let them go, that helps them. Not only do I feel better and I feel more giving, but my day's gonna be better because now I'm inviting energy of giving. I'm inviting other people to want to give back to me, because I have that spirit of giving already. So people are gonna want to give back to me. That's a principle. Whatever you put out, you're gonna get back, right? Y'all understand that, right? So you have the energy of always cutting people off. That's why people are just gonna be cutting you off. That's why people are gonna be talking crazy to you. That's why people are gonna be getting you frustrated, because you're walking around with angry energy. So you're gonna keep inviting that. Pride invites so many things to our life that does not help, that does not benefit us. But patience in God's timing, right? Patience in your due diligence, and having patience and faith. We talk about pride and envy being best friends. How about patience and faith? How about being patient, knowing that your faith in due time will give you everything that you need? That's what God tells us. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. And one of the qualities of the kingdom is patience. Another quality is faith. Another quality is understanding that in the right time, everything will be provided to you. Right? So keep this in mind. Don't let pride kill you. And trust me, I'm the first one to tell you, look, ain't nobody's perfect, right? I'm doing my best to practice what I'm preaching here, but I promise you, sometimes I'm gonna fail I'm gonna fail my own test, right? Like, I ain't perfect at this. I'm putting this video out just as much for me as I am for anybody else who might be struggling with this, which I'm sure is everybody, all right? But yeah, so that's something to think about. Raise your patience, lower that pride, put it to the side, talk to God. He'll help you out. All right. Thanks for being here. Peace.